Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to take another look at our fundamentals demo, and specifically, we are going to take a look at our import info from CSV using arrays. Now, this is sort of an addendum to the first video and where I explained how we would statically declare the array if collected info to a predetermined size. And in this case, it's going to be equal to 10, or at least that was the example that we used. And then in our users.csv file, we only actually had 5 rows. But what happens if we had to have more than 10 rows? Well, it turns out we can still handle that with this approach. What we would do is simply keep track of our count, much like we already are. But instead of including it in a while loop, we would simply pull it inside of our while loop. And every time we found a new line that had the correct number of chunks, we would simply check to see whether or not the count was equal to the max. Well, if the count was equal to the max, that means that effectively you'd already filled up your array and you were in danger of accidentally writing over something else in memory. Well, the way you get around this is you simply use the java.utils.arrays that we used in the earlier video to resize the array. Now, the assumption was in the earlier video that we were resizing it to make it smaller, but you can also resize it to make it larger by simply increasing the max count, or the maximum number of elements in the array. Now, you would not want to do this every iteration of the array because that would significantly slow down, or rather every iteration of reading the line from a file, because that would significantly slow down your application. Instead, what you would want to do is simply resize the array, perhaps in increments of 5, increments of 10, increments of 100, or perhaps some percentage of its existing size. So in other words, you would say something like max is equal to 1.5 times max. So for instance, if it started off with 10, it would go to 15. And then if you did 1.5 times 15, then of course you would end up in a situation where you had a decimal value, in which case you would simply round up or round down. But effectively at that point, then it would grow by a constant percentage. So you've got a couple of tricks that you can play. Arrays are very powerful, whether they're in C or in Java, so you don't want to necessarily exclude them from your code. It's just we'll see that there are alternate ways to do this in the Java framework. So again, quick synopsis. You can use the java.util.arrays.copyof to resize your array, both bigger and smaller, and you would just simply have to have a little bit of logic inside of your while loop that allowed for you to resize the array when you ran out of elements. Everything else would work the exact same. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to email me, and thank you for watching.